Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Grow podcast. It's a pleasure to have you here with us. I'm Max, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Emma.
Hi, everyone. We are very happy to have you here again. Today, we are going to talk about a topic that many of you have probably wondered about. Why does it seem so hard to improve your English?
That's right, Emma. English is a global language, and mastering it can open many doors, both in your professional and personal life. But even with all the motivation, many people feel stuck and can't progress as they would like.
That's true. The reasons for this are different for everyone. Some people don't progress because they don't practice enough. Others are afraid of making mistakes and exposing themselves. But it's important to remember that we all go through these challenges at some point. And the most important thing is not to be too hard on yourself.
The first thing we need to understand is that learning a new language, like English, is a continuous process, and everyone has their own pace. First of all, it's essential to increase your vocabulary, because you can't use English in your daily life if you don't know what to say.
Exactly, Max. A great way to do this is to keep a notebook of words. Whenever you find a word you don't know, write it down in this notebook. And every day, spend at least 5 minutes reviewing these words. In the long run, this habit will significantly expand your vocabulary. And the best part is that, over time, you will see that learning English doesn't have to be hard. On the contrary, it can become a natural and fun part of your daily life.
And when you start to feel more confident with your vocabulary, you can integrate English into your daily life more effectively. This means finding opportunities to practice English every day, even if it's just a little. And of course, it's crucial to overcome the fear of making mistakes. After all, making mistakes is part of learning, and it's through them that we improve our skills. Every small step is a victory, and consistency is the key to success.
That's right, Max. And one of the best ways to include English in your routine is by making small changes in your daily life. For example, you can watch movies and TV shows in English, starting with subtitles in Portuguese, then switching to subtitles in English, and finally watching without subtitles. Listening to music or podcasts in English on your way to work or while doing chores at home can also be a great way to practice. Remember, the idea is to make English a light and constant part of your daily life.
In your opinion, why are so many people afraid of making mistakes? And how can we help them overcome this?
The fear of making mistakes is one of the biggest obstacles I see in people learning English. Often, this fear comes from the idea that we need to speak perfectly from the beginning, which is an unrealistic expectation. Learning a new language involves making mistakes, and that is completely normal. We all go through this.
That's true. I remember when I started learning a new language and how uncomfortable it was to make mistakes in front of others. But over time, I realized that every mistake was a learning opportunity.
The best way to face this fear is by changing your mindset. Instead of seeing mistakes as failures, we should see them as necessary steps on the road to fluency. Another tip is to practice with friends or in environments where you feel more comfortable. This creates a supportive atmosphere, where making mistakes isn't a problem but part of the process.
Emma, I implemented a strategy that was very effective in improving my English, practicing the language for 30% of my day. What do you think of this tactic?
I think it's a great strategy, especially for those who already have a bigger vocabulary. When we start bringing English into our daily lives, it stops being just a subject to study and becomes a natural part of our life. This speeds up learning because the language becomes part of your thinking, your actions, and even your feelings.
I totally agree, Emma. One of the most practical ways to do this is to start talking to yourself in English. This might seem strange at first, but it's a great way to practice. For example, you can narrate your daily actions. If you're going to take a shower, say to yourself, "I am going to take a shower now." This simple action puts English in a real and everyday context, making learning more natural and less forced. However, this practice will be more effective if you already have a reasonable vocabulary. And even if you don't, start slowly with what you know and increase it little by little.
I think it's fantastic. Besides practicing speaking, you start to internalize phrases and expressions that you really use every day. And the best part is that you don't need anyone else for this. You can do it anytime, while driving, cooking, or even walking. This makes the practice constant and accessible, no matter where you are. And if you make a mistake, it's okay.
Emma, do you think this technique works for all levels of learning, or is it more effective for those who already have a foundation in English?
While this technique is valuable for all levels, it is more effective for those who already have a basic vocabulary. For beginners, the priority should be increasing vocabulary before trying to implement English in so many daily situations. For those with an intermediate or advanced level, it's a way to refine fluency, practice more complex grammatical structures, and expand vocabulary. And don't worry if it seems difficult at first. Everyone starts somewhere, and over time you'll feel more comfortable.
Another interesting point is that when you verbalize your actions in English, your brain starts to make automatic connections between what you're thinking and what you're saying. This helps the language sink in, and it makes English feel like a real and present part of your routine. You stop thinking of English as a foreign language and start seeing it as part of your daily life. And this is only possible with consistency and patience.
Yes, consistency is key. And don't worry if at first you need to mix English and Portuguese. The important thing is to keep in constant contact with the language and not give up, even when it seems difficult. Remember, we all go through this, and what really makes a difference is persistence.
So, everyone, as we've seen today, improving your English can be a challenge, but it's not impossible. With the right strategies, like expanding your vocabulary, incorporating the language into your daily life, practicing without fear of mistakes, and finding methods that work for you, you can overcome the barriers and reach fluency. And, most importantly, don't be too hard on yourself. The learning process is unique for each person, and your effort will take you far.
That's right, Max. Remember that progress can be slow at first, but with patience, dedication, and consistency, results will come. Don't be afraid of making mistakes, because it's through mistakes that we learn and improve. And above all, make English a natural part of your life, and you'll see how everything becomes easier. Don't forget to celebrate your small victories along the way.
We hope these tips are helpful to you as you try to improve your English. Keep practicing and don't give up.
Exactly, Max. And every step you take, even if it seems small, is taking you in the right direction. So don't be discouraged if the results don't come immediately. And remember, the journey can be challenging, but it can also be incredibly rewarding.
And remember, everyone, you are not alone in this. Many people around the world face the same difficulties and challenges as you. And all of us, at some point, have had to deal with the same fears and insecurities.
We believe in you. Keep going. Celebrate each progress and remember that the most important thing is not to give up. We are all on this learning journey together, and every step you take is a step in the right direction.
Thank you so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure to share these tips with you, and we hope they make a difference in your English learning.
See you in the next episode of the Grow Podcast.
See you next time, everyone.